Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Network. So, one of my friends asked me to make a video about Chris Benoit and basically give my opinion on does he deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. So, I'm going to talk about that, and I'm also going to be talking about the murder that happened. We're going to be talking about steroids, brain damage, concussions, and maybe a conspiracy to kill Chris Benoit. So, yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting video. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. So, let's get into this video. Okay, so first, we're going to start off the night that this all happened. So, Sunday night, June, I believe this was 2007. They're supposed to be having a pay-per-view on Sunday. Vengeance Night of Champions. It's supposed to be Chris Benoit versus CM Punk for the ECW Championship. So, Chris Benoit was supposed to show up for a live event on Saturday. He said he couldn't make it because his family had food poisoning. He said he took him to the hospital. He said he'll make it to the pay-per-view on Sunday. So he was going to be taking the next flight out. So basically, during that night, he had a phone conversation with one of his good friends, Chavo Guerrero. Chavo Guerrero said during the phone call, Chris Benoit sounded strange, didn't sound like himself. He sounded depressed. And he said a very strange thing. Like, he was like, Chavo, Chavo, Chavo. He's like, I love you, strange. So it sounded like Chris Benoit was saying goodbye. So after that, he hung up. Chavo called him. He's like, is everything all right? And he said, yeah, man, everything's all right. Just a tough weekend. He said, all right, man, I'll hit you up tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and Chavo tries to call him, doesn't answer. You know, After the pay-per-view, like around 5 o'clock in the morning, he gets text that was supposed to be from Saturday, but, it gets delayed. And he said, back door's open, the dogs are by the pool. It's kind of strange. He also sent these messages to a referee, Scott Armstrong, I think. It was a referee, I'm not sure, but he sent the same exact messages. So, red flags were definitely drawn at that point. So, Vince McMahon called law enforcement to go to Chris Benoit's house. As soon as they get in, there's Chris Benoit hung with beer cans all around him. His wife strangled, his son strangled. So the Benoit family is dead, or Benoit family, Benoit, whatever you want to call them. So we're going to be talking about this. What is the cause of this? So yeah, that's what happened during that night of June 2007, the Vengeance Night of Champions pay-per-view. So, yeah, again, we're going to be talking about this. What caused this? Was it conspiracy to set him up? Was it brain damage? Was it steroids, roid rage? So, yeah, it's going to be a pretty good video. So, let's get into this. Okay, first thing we're going to be doing is talking about conspiracies. So, this is pretty weird. 21 hours before law enforcement found the bodies, there was a Wikipedia source saying that Chris Benoit's wife was murdered. Nothing about Chris Benoit and his son, but saying his wife was murdered. So, they found this guy in Stamford, Connecticut. At first, they thought it was somebody at the WWE Performance Center, but it wasn't. So they brought this guy in for questioning, and turns out the guy was like a big WWE fan. And he said, I should have waited before more information came out about this. It makes me look bad. But he said basically he was searching on the internet and he found this information out and he posted it and he said sorry again. He said I was just trying to post something, but it did make this guy look bad. But do I think he was involved with this? No. And watching the interview, the guy was pretty like fat and kind of nerdy. I don't think he would be involved with this. But he doesn't need to be like involved to kill them. Like he could be involved in some other way. But to me personally, I don't think he was involved in the murder. I think he was just looking up on the internet and posted it, and it kind of made him look bad. But yeah, if you guys didn't know that, that was a pretty interesting thing to look at. Okay, next thing we're going to be talking about this guy, Kevin Sullivan. So, in WCW, Kevin Sullivan was basically married to Nancy Benoit, Chris Benoit's wife. So, the way that Chris Benoit and Nancy got basically together is Kevin Sullivan put them in an angle together, basically to have Nancy cheat on Kevin Sullivan with Chris Benoit. And surprise, surprise, it turned out in real life too that it actually happened. You know, Nancy left Kevin Sullivan for Chris Benoit. You know, Kevin Sullivan was so mad that he said that he would even kill Chris Benoit. So that's the thing, and if you're not surprised about this, he's a Satanism, so he worships Satan, and basically that was a big thing there too. Did Kevin Sullivan kill Chris Benoit? And the thing too, it was like 10 years later that this happened, so people wondering why did he wait this long to do it if he did do it. So that was a thing there too. And like if you like look at Satanism, they don't kill children. So, Chris Benoit's son was killed. So in Satanism, they don't kill children. So that's another thing that Kevin Sullivan probably didn't do this. So, you know, despite like Nancy leaving Kevin Sullivan for Chris Benoit, I don't think this is the cause. A lot of people believe that Kevin Sullivan killed Chris Benoit. Talking about the murder scene, like there was beer cans all around Chris Benoit during his autopsy. There was no alcohol in his system. Kind of weird there. The way he was hung, it didn't look like the way that the person hung themselves. It looked like somebody else would do it. That is another weird thing. The cell phones for Nancy and Chris Benoit were missing, and they're still missing to this day. So it kind of looks like maybe foul play was involved there. There was this thing too, but it's kind of been shot down. They said that Chavo Guerrero did an interview in WWE Magazine talking about him on the phone with Chris Benoit, saying that basically Chris Benoit said he had to go. Somebody was at the door, and basically saying Chavo Guerrero heard like some kind of physical altercation like in the house with Chris Benoit and this guy that injured, but Chavo Guerrero shot that down too, and again, it wasn't even in a WWE magazine, and WWE superstars weren't allowed to talk about Chris Benoit back then too, so that's kind of shot down too, but that's still an interesting thing to look at too. But yeah, do I think Kevin Sullivan did this? I don't think he did this because, again, in the Satanism book, it says you cannot kill children. They believe that's bad, but they can kill anybody else. So I don't think he did it. Okay, next thing to talk about steroids. So a lot of people believe steroids and alcohol what made Chris Benoit finally go over the edge and did what he did. To me, honestly, it doesn't seem like that. I was watching things about steroids and roid rage, and they're saying roid rage is not really caused by steroids, and they were saying that steroids really can help your brain. So I think steroids really weren't a part of it. To me, that's what I think. But, talking about brain damage, Chris Benoit always used that flying headbutt. He was always hit by chairs, always taking like hard bumps on the head. You know, that's what I think did it, brain damage and all the concussions that this guy came up with. Okay, guys, so I'm going to tell you a story right now. There was this wrestler, Chris Nemirovsky, I think I'm saying it. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but basically, he was a wrestler in '05 through like '07, I believe. And he was the guy in the red Harvard jacket, if you guys remember him on Raw. So basically, he was a WWE superstar for 3 years, but mostly on Raw for only a year. And his career ended with him getting like a super kick to the head, and he suffered a pretty bad concussion, which damaged his brain. And he decided to call it a career, and he decided to talk about brain damage and concussions after that and started to get into a study on that. So basically, he talked to Chris Benoit's dad and said, "Hey, you know, you should really get Chris Benoit's brain like researched, out of like an autopsy and see if there was brain damage involved with this." So they did this, and when they were doing this, his brain was like a 88-year-old man with dementia. So yeah, you can tell his signature mood, the flying head crossbutt, all the chair shots, like all this like head impact trauma that he suffered in the ring did it. So with all that said, I really think brain damage was the cause of it. He was sick and he wasn't himself when he did all this. So, talking about the WWE Hall of Fame and banishment basically in the WWE, do I think Chris Benoit deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and does he deserve to have his name mentioned in WWE? To me, the answer is yes. The guy was sick. He wasn't in the right stable of mind. In looking back then at WWE, you know, they did steroids and all that, and they made wrestlers wrestle hurt, and they really didn't take like medical procedure right in the WWE back then. Sure enough, after Chris Benoit died and they saw his brain, like all the damage that it took in his career, they started having more better doctors and everything. But, I definitely think they should mention his name more in WWE and bring him into the Hall of Fame. That's my opinion. You guys can think what you want. You can say he murdered his family, which I believe he did. But talking about it, he was sick. And then if you guys watch these movies, like on I believe Will Smith, well, I know he did. He made a movie called Concussions. You guys should watch. It's a pretty good movie, and you can basically see what happens to the brain, like when you like get like a lot of impact, like a lot of trauma to the brain. It can mess you up, and you can like hallucinate, like all that, and that's what happened to Chris Benoit. So I truly believe Chris Benoit should be in the WWE Hall of Fame, and he should have never been banished from the WWE like that. I think that was just like wrong. He was really sick. Let's just say that. So yeah, like talking about all that, steroids, a plot to kill Chris Benoit. I don't think that's what did it. Even though the evidence was a little bit weird, like when he was like near his body, like the bear cans, the missing phones, why would he kill his son? But honestly, I think brain damage did it. You can hallucinate again, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Chris Benoit was talking about being like he felt like he was being followed and all that. And hallucination can do that with having brain damage. So I think that's what did it. It's sad to see what happened, but yeah, he had no control of it and he was sick, and it's a shame on the WWE for not having doctors like that back then. So yeah, I really do believe this guy should be in the Hall of Fame and he should really be mentioned in the WWE, not banished. So yeah, guys, share your comments down below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like. Again, I'm sorry for not showing my face like I have. You know, there's some kind of problem with the volume control on my laptop. I can connect my headset and hear my audio, but when I use my microphone, it doesn't record the audio. So I don't know what's up with the audio control. I'll try to look at it, but I've done everything I can to do with the laptop to try to get it work. But I can still use my computer to do like voice videos, so I'm gonna do that. But I just don't want to buy a cheap laptop. I want to buy a good laptop, so I'm gonna save up. So yeah, there'll still be videos on WWE News and all that, but it's gonna be a while before I get a laptop because I want to get like a $2,000 laptop. So yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like again if you enjoyed it. It really will help me out and let me know that you liked this video and all the stuff that I gathered up in this whole investigation. Again, this has been the Wrestling Network, and have a good night.